Oh, nice.
In Angel Cabin?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Nice, smells pretty good.
And who's this dripping over here? Chris?
Yep.
I can take that spot.
Drippy, drippy.
No, you use one of those headbands with flashlight on it.
I know, right?
eBay.
Alright, number 27, Tao Te Ching. Good traveling does not leave tracks. Good speech does not seek fault. Good reckoning does not use counters. Good closure needs no bar and yet cannot be opened. Good knot needs no rope and yet cannot be united. Therefore sages often save others, and so do not abandon anyone. They often save things, and so do not abandon anything. This is called following enlightenment. Therefore the good person is the teacher of the bad person. The bad person is the resource of the good person. Those who do not value the teachers and do not love their resources, although intelligent, they are greatly confused. This is called the essential wonder. Commentary. Skilled travelers in the journey of life follow the path of nature. They do not force their way through obstacles or trample over fellow travelers. They leave no signs of their passing. If we are similarly skillful in personal interactions, we would also follow the path of nature and not use words to find fault in others. To do so would be to leave unskillful skid marks all over the emotional landscape. In ancient China, doors were locked from the inside with a wooden bar set horizontally. Thus, this line is talking about how we can capture people's attention so they naturally gravitate to us, as if they are locked in, but without the wooden bar. The key is to connect with them at a deep level and form bonds that are stronger than any knots tied with ropes. Sages do not give up on anyone. Everyone plays a role and everyone has an impact. Good individuals can serve as teachers and examples for us. Not so good individuals are just as useful because we can observe the consequences of their negative actions and learn what not to do. This line describes the passing on of spiritual knowledge from one generation to the next. Following enlightenment means walking in the footsteps of past sages to take their illuminating wisdom as our own. Some translators render the characters as stealing light, which strays far from the original meaning. Most of us do not value everyone equally. We develop likes and dislikes, preferences and aversions. We shower some with attention while ignoring others. We favor certain individuals while finding others barely tolerable. Most of us pay lip service to the concept of universal love, but few of us actually practice it. Lao Tzu would definitely see us as greatly confused. Any reflection on those readings? Know the masculine, hold to the feminine. Be the watercourse of the world. Being the watercourse of the world, the eternal virtue does not depart. Return to the state of the infant. Know the white, hold to the black. Be the standard of the world. Be the standard of the world, the eternal virtue does not deviate. Return to the state of the boundless. Know the honor, hold to the humility. Be the value of the world. Being the valley of the world, the eternal value shall be sufficient. Return to the state of plain wood. Plain wood splits, then becomes tools. The sages utilize them and then become leaders. Thus, the greater whole is undivided. Know the advantages of being forward and active, but keep to the principle of quietude and tranquility. We need both yin and yang to be truly complete. The watercourse of the world is a converging point, the nexus for the exchange of energy among people. To play this role, we need to know not only the importance of being dynamic and proactive, but also how to handle people with courtesy and diplomacy. The state of the infant refers to the purity and simplicity of nature. We all manifested this state effortlessly when we were little, but the older we we get, the further we stray from it. In this context, white means being highly visible, and black means being subtle. Sages understand the appropriate use of both. To be boundless means being able to move and act without being bound by limitations. Because we do not seek the limelight, we remain unknown while doing our work. Our anonymity lets us go where we are needed and do what needs to be done. This would not be the case if we drew attention to ourselves. One consequence of fame is the severe restrictions in one's ability to go anywhere or do anything. We know what it is like to be highly regarded, but we hold to the principle of humility. We see ourselves as being with the common people, not above them. We become the valley of the world. We are open and receptive to the many diverse perceptives that people have. I translate Ku, the most important character in this slide, as plain wood. It is often mistranslated as uncarved block. Ku represents simplicity, plainness, and potentialities because a plain piece of wood has the potential to be carved into many different things. Reflection.
There was a part, I don't know verbatim how to really say it, but we're talking about the subtlety of being, anonymous, or the benefits of being like out there and being visible. And it's talking about being, a part of the people, being somebody highly regarded but not being above them. I actually like that a lot. It's like being highly respected amongst people, but not kind of like a political leader, like how people look at, certain politicians, like, oh, you're one of us. They identify with you, but they don't look at you as being above them.
Between that reading and the previous one I just got, there seems to be a thread of consistency around just the path to enlightenment requires humility. That's kind of what I take away from a lot of these readings.
Yeah.
No ego.
Like in training, one of these guys, he's having me, like when I train him at his home, he has me read this book about the Quran and stuff. And in the book that I'm reading so far, it keeps talking against like arrogance and all that. And this is along the same lines. I mean, it's just pointing towards humility, both of them.
It's really pointing against just the complete opposite of like this Western lifestyle where everything's about abundance and ego and competition and I'm better than you, fame, fortune, all that kind of shit.
I was about to say that, because like it's pointing towards humility, but then I could see how the culture doesn't appreciate that. Like you have a lot of people that take advantage of people that are humble and just quiet or modest, and they'll take advantage of them. And I know if you hold strong to these teachings, I feel that you still have to learn how to adapt and kind of like inside that you are, like you have like that humble spirit, but then you know how to use the mind to kind of protect that from the rest of the world that's, like they play like hardball out there, and so, like I learned it in business too. Like you might have you have a good heart, but even in business arrangements, like people that are hard, like very aggressive and arrogant, they could run you out of business if you don't know what you're doing, and you don't protect it. So it's almost like an infant and like the mother, and then you're the male that has to protect them from the negative spirits out there, or whatever, the negative energy out there. Like you have to be able to adapt. It's not that you're gonna change who you are, but you just have to learn how to adapt to the hardness out there. The yang energy. but then not let it change you. Because some people, they changes who they are, and they're just different. They never, you know, they lose that goodness inside, you know. It says right here that you don't really seek the light. We do not seek the limelight. We remain unknown while doing our work. Yes, okay, we don't seek it, but sometimes what if it comes to you? Like you can't nothing that you can do about it. So say your father's famous. Like how's, you know, you're born into the limelight. You didn't want to be, but you were just forced into it. Now that you're forced into it, you gotta learn how to deal with it. It's like you didn't want the promotion, but everybody quit. Now they're like, all right, you know,
You understand. It's like being a godfather.
Yeah, when you're amongst it, I mean, I can look at my own family, even my own mom for that matter, you know, she's a beautiful person, but it matters way too much to her what other people think. And she likes to boast about the good things that she has. But not like the material things, but it's more like, you know, her kids. You know, and she likes to boast about, you know, her accomplishments.
Sounds like my mom.
It's all about this. That should be embarrassing, man. Still,
People know you and all your whole life story before they even met you.
And it puts all this pressure onto you,
right.
you know.
I don't want that kind of recognition. Sometimes I forget that I'm in certain positions until somebody else says something. But you got, yeah. But I think to your point, you know, you have to, you know. So what are you gonna do? So you're in that situation, you have to learn how to like navigate it and still maintain your inner self while you're navigating this outer world that we find ourselves in.
I think it's really hard to not change. Like when you have no power and all of a sudden you have power, or you have no fame and all of a sudden you have fame, you have no money, all of a sudden you have lots of money.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard not to change. Like a woman, say, all of a sudden she like really attracted to everybody, everybody wants to be with her, like it can change who she is and how she treats people, you know. And with men with money or fame, they can be cool, but then when they get famous or they get a lot of money, they just, you know, they just completely change, and it's hard not to. You know? It's hard for people to understand what it's like unless they've experienced it themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Go to 29. Those who wish to take the world and control it, I see that they cannot succeed. The world is a sacred instrument. One cannot control it. The one who controls it will fail. The one who grasps it will lose. Because all things either lead or follow, either blow hot or cold, either have strength or weakness, either have ownership or take by force. Therefore the sage eliminates extremes, eliminates excess, eliminates arrogance. This view of the world as a sacred instrument dates back tens of thousands of years, long before the appearance of the term Tao. This common belief has been passed down by oral tradition in cultures throughout the world. As Native American spiritual traditions demonstrate when we revere the sanctity of the world, we naturally feel a deep connection with nature and see ourselves as part of it, not apart from it. Tao is all about balance. These descriptions depict the complementary balance that exists in nature, where different creatures play different roles, and all are necessary components in the interconnected web of ecology. Creatures that have ownership are the ones that occupy their own environmental niche. Creatures that take by force are the predators who survive by hunting prey. Let us emulate the natural balance of the Tao. Like the sages, we too can live in accordance with the principle of moderation. This chapter gives us 3 simple ways to behave. Reduce extremes, avoid excess, and let go of arrogance. Commentary. Reflection.
I got a question for basically everybody regarding part where it talks about extremes. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe I misunderstand what they mean by it. I mean, I understand it, but when they talk about, like, kind of like don't go towards one extreme or another, like stay centered. There's sometimes where, like, alright, you don't want something to grasp you so hard emotionally where you don't want to break down and be depressed over it, but you don't want something that also takes so much control over to where it's like your sole point of happiness. So my basic question is, when is it okay to kind of like exercise the extreme or get emotionally, like, not be dull, you know?
So I think I know what you're talking about. Like, there's the aspect. Some people misunderstand the teachings and they think, like, to be indifferent, like to say somebody dies, like, oh well, whatever.
Right.
Like that, or like you just like you cry for like 4 years or something. You know. So it's like extremes, right? Spirituality that I study from the East is talking about compassion. So, like, you develop a compassionate heart, so it's not indifference. It's not like you can, even somebody like a cold-blooded murderer can be indifferent. They don't mind killing people because it doesn't even affect them, you know. And then you got the other extreme where people, they see death and it affects them so much where it just throws them off. Compassion, from my understanding, is more like you have great love for the world and everybody, but you just have a deep understanding of the nature of things. So, like, you know, like if you watch nature, you see animals die, or you see plants, you know, they might, you know, like a flower might live for like 3 days or 7 days and it passes away. You can appreciate it while it's there, but you're not gonna be like depressed when it goes away because you understand the nature of things, you know. Like, you understand that death is gonna come in one way or another, and then you might come to a deep understanding where you could also see like the spirit as eternal, or like there's something that transcends death, whereas really death is not really, death is almost like a lie, like it doesn't really even exist. It's just a part of the cycle. So you could wake up in the morning, it could be rainy, it could be snowing, it could be sunny, but it's like a cycle. The seasons are a cycle. So when somebody dies, or something dies, or something ends, just like the way that you view jobs, like I mentioned, oh, you know, I lost this job, and you're like, no, they lost you.
Yeah.
Stuff from a different perspective. You like, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. If something happens, you get a divorce, you lose your job, or somebody dies, you don't have to look at it from a negative standpoint. You can understand that this is a part of the cycle, and it's okay, and you're not affected by it emotionally because you just understand it. Just like my car, you know, let go of it. It was hard, but then it led to something even better that I wouldn't even perceive, you know.
Right.
And that's how life is. Like, things happen for a reason. So whatever happens in life, you don't take it in a negative way like that because you just understand life. And that's like you're not indifferent, but you're just compassionate, but your emotions aren't thrown off harmony through that compassion. it's like being guided by wisdom, opposed to just pure emotion. You know, so you have a wise person who loves just as much as, you know, everybody else, but he's not mourning somebody's death how a regular person would be mourning, because he understands life. You know, I mean, that's my understanding of it. You know,
What I take from it, as far as like not like in excess or going to the extremes, just take like on a daily basis to just approach it with contentment and acceptance. Like to be content with everything that you have, but thankful for it, and not in a state of needing or wanting more. And then and have a mindset of acceptance. Like anything can change at any given moment, but just know that no matter what happens, it's for your ultimate good.
yeah,
I like those key words, not to be indifferent. Like I said, it's acceptance. Like no matter what, you accept it. You know, then you can move forward instead of being, oh, well, why isn't such and such this way? And trying to go over back and forth in your mind. It's like, it's not accepted. Well, thank y'all for, because I've been actually thinking about that. Like, you know, you can get certain moments, well, I'm saying me, not saying you all, where you can be detached and it's like, well, you don't want to break down too much and get too emotional, but there's times where, you know, we're human.
I think the mind plays a lot too in the extremities, because you can have initial emotional reactions, but if your mind continues to replay what happened, or to continue to keep you in thought of it, it keeps re-triggering the emotion. So if you have, you know, like the meditation, you can get a better, kind of grip and control of the mind, and I think you can manage some of the extremes. I mean, I don't see how you can avoid them. Just trying to bring it back into balance.
I know from experience, there's a lot of things that I can be in a meditative state with, but there's certain things that are a huge challenge where I experience the everyday struggle of people that don't practice meditation, and it is difficult. You know, it really is. Like you could be thinking about something that happened like a year or 2 years ago, and you're still like it happened yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And you just get all depressed and sad and down about it, and that's tough. You know, even though I practice meditation a lot, there's certain things that it's a huge challenge for me. So you're not gonna, like, for me, I haven't mastered everything, and I think for most people, you could be something you could recover from quickly, like a loss of a job or whatever, or even a divorce. But other things, certain things, maybe you just can't recover from that quickly, because it just impacts you so much. You know, maybe the death of somebody like really close to you, you know, or something. You know, just something. It's just a challenge, and that's when the meditation comes in, to try to apply those teachings to that specific experience, to try to overcome it, those emotional extremes. But being human, I think, like Shazay said, it's like you can't get away from it completely, because that's why I say meditation is like probably the hardest aspect of development, because you can pretty much practice it your whole life and you'll never be perfect at it, because thoughts will always come, you know, usually, and it's almost like a fantasy to envision somebody like a Buddha, or who has mastered it. You know, most people don't even come close to mastering it. They get thrown off balance like so easily. But the better that you get at it, then you just recover quick, no matter what comes at you in life. And I know I've gotten better compared to when I was younger. You know, through time you just get better at it. Like you just look at things kind of silly, like, you know, when I was this young, I used to get all jealous and blah, 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 but then now you're like, 15 years later, like, man, I'm not like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was this young, it was all competitive and arrogant, but now, like, I'm not even like that anymore. You just, things change, you know? Like, you grew up, you know? And then you see other people stuck in that, like 40-year-olds that are, like, treating relationships like they're teenagers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, getting all jealous and possessive and just, like, crazy, you know? It's like, their minds haven't grown. Like, their bodies might have aged, but their minds are still stuck, you know? And you see that, and you're like, whoa, you know, like, they haven't grown. Their minds haven't matured to kind of let go of certain attachments and things like that, you know?
Funny. When you say that, you got the other way around. When you got some people that know at like 17, like, oh, she left? Like, okay, cool. Like, yes. And some people like my age, like 30, like, oh man, she left. Like, what you gonna do? Like, I don't know. And like 17-year-old, like, man, this is what I'm, thank you. Like,
30 years old, man?
huh?
30?
Yeah.
It's like,
The first time you felt old, up to the club.
yeah, but that example would more be like indifference. So then it's like the emotional extreme and then the indifference extreme.
I know you've shared before, Seafood, about some of Osho's. I can't quite 100% remember what you were saying, but something Osho was talking about around, you know, I don't know if it was unrealistic or, you know, folks that kind of go up into the mountains and shit and just kind of,
Oh yeah.
just kind of isolate themselves and shit and that type versus kind of like what we do in the day-to-day grunt. I mean, I feel like our shit's way more powerful than that because of what we have to face, like the obstacles that we have to overcome, you know, like day-to-day, you know, we're not perfect, we're actually living our humanity, we're not hiding. I mean, nothing against, you know, people that want to go up to the mountains and shit. But to me, this is more of a warrior meditation in this world because you got shit coming at you left, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you can see your, like you're saying, you know, you can tell the difference in how you were younger to now. And certain have my things that have changed and grown. Like, you know, I can feel it more versus if somebody from the mountains came out here trying to live. So I got to go to the mountains easier than someone from the mountains to come here.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what Osho was talking about, you know. It's like running away from, I guess, challenges and not really overcoming them, and then how can you understand it, you know? It's like, if you take it in the context of martial arts, it's like people like sparring, like they just never spar, so they just avoid confrontations, but then they still don't understand the deeper aspects of it. So it's like spirituality, you just kind of run away from relationships or you run away from human beings and then you claim yourself to be peaceful. I mean, you know, like,
Right.
you know, it's like,
Yeah, man. Shit.
you know,
You're at peace with yourself, nobody else.
so it could be, you know, sex. You know, you run away from sex and then you claim that you're beyond sex. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't even understand it. You know, so that's, you know, Osho would criticize that and say that that's not the true master. The true master is somebody who basically, you might go to the mountains to take a break to kind of understand yourself and grow, but then you get back into the world and then you apply that to the world. And it's like that peace that you found in the mountains, bring it back to the world so everybody else could benefit, you know. It's almost like you go to the mountains, fetch some diamonds, and then bring it back and like, here guys, take it, have some. And then only you could go to the mountain because only you could climb that high. So you just keep going back up there, getting more diamonds and share it with people.
Telling other people about insurance.
So there's like, you might have to go to your own mountain. You know, it might be your own, it could be your own home or just your own meditative like space, and then go back out into the world and share that peace with people. So that's the power, because you're sharing, you're helping people grow that may never be able to go to the mountain. I mean, think about a mountain like Mount Everest. Like, how many people have actually got there? Like, very few people. So, but meditation is like a high level of spiritual growth that very few people will get to, but they'll get glimpses because of you. But if you weren't there, then they're just not going to get any glimpse. I mean, right here, for example, you see like little lights, so then it turns a dark room into light, so you can see a little bit. It's not as bright as the light switch, but you can still see pretty good. So people will get a glimpse of enlightenment because you're in their life. But if you just ran away to the mountains and nobody even can communicate with you, then it's almost like you're dead already. To me, it's almost like you're not even there. But Lao Tzu, you know, he wrote that one book, and we're still reading that book right now, like 2,500 years later. We're still benefiting from the wisdom that he shared. Same thing with Bruce Lee and a lot of the famous people out there, but you're kind of no different. You're just might not be as famous as some of these people, but your impact still makes a huge difference in everyday lives of people. And it's important that you don't give up on people, because that's kind of what the other chapter was talking about. Like, the Taoism, just give up on people and be like, man, these guys will never get it, and then just be like, I'm going off on my own, like it's like a team, you guys stay together, a family, and help people. And that's a lot of the workings of the martial arts, is usually you're always helping people, helping people become better than when they started, or, and help them grow as you keep progressing yourself. But the huge part of it is like helping other people too. And then you find joy in it. I think eventually you start to enjoy it, where it's not a burden. You don't feel like it's a burden. It's something that you find, you find some type of fulfillment in helping people. I think spiritual sages get to that point where it's something that it just draws them to do it because they're meant to do it. Like, ever since I read this book for the first time, I haven't stopped trying to share the teachings with the people I interact with. I just share to them in different ways. Like, just by the way that I live, I share that wisdom with them, because I know that it helped me so much. And I only feel that it's right that I continue on to share as much as, Lao Tzu and the translators and everybody else that is involved has shared with me,
I think that's how I kind of ended up on the path that I'm on. Probably my, I used to work in corporate America, and then I left everything, went to travel, and kind of my spiritual journey. therapy, kind of using going therapy though for more of a spiritual foundation than a book foundation. So it's something and I can't, it was just kind of in me to want to share and to give back somehow. I went to this morning before I came here, I went to the juice bar to get some concoctions for my cold.
Yes.
And there's a lady I always see in there. This is the first time I got a name, Alma. And this Mexican lady. She's always seemed so fascinated with me. I'm always coming in there doing these cleanses and do shit and this and that. She want to know the secret. It's like, how do you feel about doing that? I love to eat. I couldn't just drink for blah 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 and
Just don't.
But it was interesting because her focus was on the weight, like the physical. She's like, did you lose weight? How much? You must lose a lot of weight. And the weight. I was like, actually, I don't really lose that much weight. I may lose somewhere between 5 and 7 pounds over a week. She's grabbing the side. She's like, yeah, I wanted this muffin. I got this muffin. I was like, there's nothing wrong with your muffin. So good.
It's like me telling Jenny, ain't nothing wrong with being fat. It's like, I'm fat, but ain't nothing wrong with being fat.
Well, it's good. So they didn't judge her, He ain't say it wasn't a muffin.
I did acknowledge the muffin. It's okay if you got your muffin. You work on your muffin at your own pace. But it was just this, and I felt kind of, I don't know how I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but it was an odd feeling because she was complimenting me. Because she asked me, what do you do? And I said, well, I do therapy. And she was like, what do you like for your bones or emotional, mental? And she was like, oh, wow, because you're so peaceful. I could see, that makes sense because you just seem so peaceful. And I was like, okay. So it was weird because in that moment, it's like, okay, this is a compliment, and I was struggling a little bit, like taking it in, I was thinking about the meditation here, like literally, it's like, fuck, am I being like arrogant now?
It's like, yeah, I am peaceful.
Peaceful, dope. So it was an interesting, it was a really nice exchange. And then she was asking, well, how do you, I was like, yeah, I try to help you. What I said is I try, I try my best to try to help you. She's like, how do you get something out of your mind? I was like, come to meditation class on Saturday. Letting go can be hard.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I think it's easy to fall into. It's kind of like a trap that when you get compliments, it's like people set a standard for you. It's like, you are this.
Right.
And then you're like, I gotta live up to that. Even though if you might not think that what they're saying is true, even if it's positive, then you still want to try to kind of sometimes maybe want to hide the reality in order to live up to what they want you to be or what they think you are. you know, like I've noticed that, you know.
Alright, so every time I go in there now, I gotta be like,
You gotta go in there in a good mood.
God damn it, can you just make the juice? And
It's like you're peaceful until somebody scratches your car. Like that's what I like about being like the people that really know me know that like certain things like I'll get angry. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't really they can't really put me in a box. Like they know that I can be peaceful and I am peaceful, but then there's a certain side of me where I'll turn it up if I need to. You know? So then it's like no surprises. Like, oh, Freddie swore. Oh shit, that's what he does. But then like other people would be like, oh, he's such an angel. And he'll never do this. He'll never do that. And you see like this double life. You know, like, no, I saw that. I don't know what you saw, but that's the thing that you get into. It's kind of like just like what the ministers and the priests or whatever, like they'll be like, oh, you know, such a, no, he doesn't care about, he non-sexual, blah blah blah. But then it's like everybody has that sex energy. They gotta do something with it.
Right,
so
right.
what he do with it? You know what I'm saying?
Like, see, wow, they got little kids.
You know.
On Friday. Well, you're right. I mean, to add on what you're saying, like some people, they put like a lot of politicians. Like I just say one in particular, like Jesse Jackson Jr. and Jesse Jackson. I'll just say it. You know, they try to portray this image like, oh well, yeah, they're this, and don't get me wrong, we respect what you did back in the day, but all this other stuff you got going on, you hear how they talk like in private, and it's like, man, you see the ugly side of them, and it's like, wow, like you know.
Jesse Jackson is not the spokesperson for black people.
Well, I mean, nobody is really a spokesperson for black people.
That was like South Park, yeah. Jesse Jackson said it's okay.
Jesse said it, I guess.
So people put people on pedestals, which I really don't like, because it's like you deify them.
Yeah.
You know, like even Jesus, people are like, oh, Jesus this, and I got love for the teachings of Jesus and following his way, but he tore up the temple. You know, they forget to edit that part out, or certain things about Jesus, like they don't make him human anymore. Not saying he probably was justified doing so, but making people like, oh, well, they can do no wrong, and you should live up to a standard that's just not, I wouldn't say possible, but it's not natural.
Yeah, I learned a lot about that when I first opened my school. I've learned, you know, these books are even talking about it. Like, somebody insults you, you don't let it affect your core. And even if somebody compliments you, you don't let it affect your core either. Like, that's an important teaching too, you know. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard, you know. It's easy to get sucked into it, you know, and then you start, like what you're talking about, like your mom thinks way too much what other people think. Then you start thinking about, then you start worrying a lot about what other people think. You know what I'm saying? Like other people have to think I'm peaceful
right.
at all times. Like they cannot see this other side of me.
Right.
You know, that you're like hiding from people the reality. But then there's really nothing, you shouldn't be hiding. You should just be who you are, you know what I mean? Like, even if you're like 90% peaceful, that's still not bad, you know what I'm saying? It's at that 10%, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't mess with me when it comes to this.
Yeah, man. Taking guys hell at the car wash. So you ain't whacked it. Scratching my car.
When it comes to the juicy speaks, so BMW, dog.
Get your ass bro. That goddamn fast.
There's two types of splits. Okay.
Alright, let's do the next thing. Shazay, you hadn't been here for a while, so what do you want to work on?
I'd like to see if I can get through that part two.